Okay, so that's a great question, and I think that is the big dividing line or differentiating point between uh, doing it with God as opposed to not. And so let's just pull out a couple things. I can't quote the verse exactly, but it is in Ecclesiastes, and it only mentions the silver cord. It doesn't even give much of a context about it. It's basically just say it's the silver cord of life. Okay, so it's not a context, it's not a building a framework of belief system, it just mentions it. Well, the other side has taken that as one of their key components to moving in the spirit realm. And if you want to know more about that, somebody much more articulate about it, read a book called Traveling in the Spirit Made Simple by Praying Medic. Traveling in the Spirit Made Simple by Praying Medic. And he, although he was never practiced in the other side, he has studied it, and he opens that up. And one of his key components, again, to differentiate between the two, is he said, the other side, when they go in what they call astral projection, which in our side is called traveling in the spirit, and when they go in astral projection, they have to maintain some kind of grasp or connection to the silver cord to get them back to their body. And their fear is, now I'm only at this point I'm only quoting him. Their fear is that if that's ever cut or they lose it, they may be at a loss or not able to come back to their body. He actually gives several stories. It's very fascinating, enough to put the fear of God in you. You know, because he has several people who, well, it's just crazy stories of how they get lost out in no man's land. And one of them was a believer who was just dabbling around for fun and kicks and jollies and got himself in trouble. And of course, anyway, that might be a very interesting book for you to read. He's a strong believer. He writes a lot of Christian books. He's also involved in politics too. But anyway, that book I would highly recommend. I don't intend to know a whole lot about that dark side. I don't want to go over there and check that out very much, except to know what not to do. I'd like to have the fear of God, know enough to create the fear of God in me that I want to stay over in the safe side. Let me just mention one more thing and then Paul. So let's go to John 10:9. This is our common go-to verse for our first activations. To me, this is the kind of the easiest activation there is. I use it all the time when we're visiting somebody for the first time. Jesus said, I'm the door. He didn't say use the silver cord. He said, I'm the door. If you come in, you will be saved. Now that sounds like a salvation verse, but it can't be. Because the rest of the sentence says, and he shall go in and out and find pasture. So saved in this context cannot be salvation, because you don't go in and out of salvation. I believe what Jesus is saying is, because take a look at 8 verses earlier, John 10:1. He says, and if you come in any other way, you are a thief and a robber. So in other words, you don't get saved if you come in any other way. In other words, there is no safety. It is not safe to go in any other way. Thieves and robbers have consequences. Somewhere along the line, it's going to come back to bite them. But if you come in through Jesus the door, you are not just saved. I think that was just kind of a catch-all word. Probably more appropriately, a more focused application is you are safe. You're saved from the consequences of being a robber and a thief. You're saved to go in and out, and when you do, you will find pasture. That's what our allotment in life is. Not to just live as a mere human, as a mere flesh and blood lump of clay. That's not our allotment. That's not our inheritance. That's only a part of it. The biggest part of it is learning how to live in the spirit realm and go in and out. Learn how to live in both realms. Once we became a believer, our spirit, we got a new spirit. It became joined with God, became one spirit with God. And Jesus is saying now, come in and out. When you learn how to do that in and out thing, you find pasture, which is sustenance, nutrition, nourishment, thriving.